If you are a fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, you are probably familiar with these words spoken by the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer in the world. But what if you had no choice but to fight for your life in a game of death, where the stakes are nothing less than the fate of humanity itself? That is the premise of the culling game, the most unprecedented and terrifying act of Jujutsu terrorism ever enacted. The game immediately follows the Shibuya incident, a massive calamity that shook the foundations of Jujutsu society and left many casualties and mysteries in its wake. The culling game is orchestrated by Kenjaku, a mysterious and ancient sorcerer who has taken over the body of Suguru Geto, Gojo's former friend and rival. Kenjaku has a grand and sinister plan to evolve humanity by optimizing cursed energy, the power that fuels Jujutsu sorcery and curses. To achieve his goal, Kenjaku has created a game where hundreds of players, both sorcerers and non-sorcerers, must kill each other or be killed by curses across 10 barrier colonies that span Japan. The players must follow a set of rules that are announced by Tengen, an ancient and powerful sorcerer who serves as the referee and overseer of the game. The culling game is not only a brutal and bloody spectacle, but also a complex and intriguing plot that involves many characters, factions, secrets, and themes from the series. In this video, we will explore and analyze everything you need to know about the culling game of Jujutsu Kaisen, such as how and why was the culling game created? What are the rules and consequences of the culling game? How does the culling game affect the characters and the story? What is Kenjaku's ultimate goal and how can he be stopped? Are you ready to dive into the dark and twisted world of Jujutsu Kaisen? But before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you want to get notified every time I upload a new video, click the bell icon as well. It really helps me out, and I appreciate it a lot. Alright, let's get started. How did the culling game come to be? Who is behind this twisted and cruel scheme? What are their goals and motivations? To answer these questions, we need to go back to the origins of the culling game and its mastermind, Kenjaku. Kenjaku is an ancient and mysterious sorcerer who has lived for over 1,000 years by transplanting his brain into different bodies. He has assumed various identities throughout history, such as Noritoshi Kamo, Kaori Itadori, and Suguru Geto. He is also known as Brain or Pseudo Geto by some characters. Kenjaku's obsession is to evolve humanity by optimizing cursed energy, the power that fuels Jujutsu sorcery and curses. He believes that there is more potential to cursed energy in the form of human beings than Jujutsu sorcerers and cursed spirits. He also believes that humanity is in a state of stagnation and needs a radical change. To achieve his goal, Kenjaku has devised a plan that involves 3 main steps. Sealing Satoru Gojo, the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer in the world and the biggest obstacle to his plan. Creating new sorcerers by distributing cursed objects to non-sorcerers and activating them with his blood. The culling game is not a simple or fair game. It is a game of survival, where the players must kill or be killed by other players or curses. The game is governed by a set of rules that are announced by Tengen, an ancient and powerful sorcerer who serves as the referee and overseer of the game. The rules are not fixed and can be modified by Kenjaku or Tengen at any time. For instance, Kenjaku can add new rules or change existing ones to make the game more difficult or interesting for himself or his allies. Tengen can also intervene in some cases to help or hinder certain players or groups. The original rules of the culling game are as follows. Rule 1. After awakening a cursed technique, players must declare their participation in the culling game at a barrier of their choice within 19 days. This rule specifies that it is mandatory for the 1,000 awakened sorcerers to participate in the game. The game gives them 19 days to register. Rule 2. Any player who breaks the previous rule shall be subject to cursed technique removal. This rule specifies that if a player refuses to participate in the culling game within 19 days, they will lose their cursed technique and die as a result. Rule 3. Non-players who enter the colony become players at the moment of entry and shall be considered to have declared participation in the culling game. This rule specifies that anyone who enters a barrier colony whether they are sorcerers or non-sorcerers, will automatically become a player and be subject to the rules of the game. Rule 4. Players score points by ending the lives of other players. This rule specifies that killing other players is the main way to earn points in the game. Points can be used to buy items or information from Tengen, or to extend one's lifespan. Rule 5. Points are determined by the Game Master and indicate the value of a player's life. As a general rule, sorcerers are worth 5 points and non-sorcerers are worth 1 point. This rule specifies that different players have different point values based on their strength and status. The Game Master is Kenjaku, who decides these values according to his own criteria. Rule 6. Excluding the point value of a player's own life, players may expend 100 points to negotiate with the Game Master to add one new rule to the culling game. This rule specifies that players can use their points to propose new rules to Kenjaku, who can accept or reject them depending on how they affect the game. Rule 7. In accordance with the previous rule, the Game Master must accept any proposed new rule unless it has a marked and long-lasting effect on the culling game. This rule specifies that Kenjaku cannot arbitrarily reject any proposed new rule unless it significantly alters or disrupts the game. Rule 8. If a player's score remains the same for 19 days, that player shall be subject to curse technique removal. This rule specifies that players must keep killing other players or curses every 19 days, or they will lose their curse technique and die as a result. These are the original rules of the culling game, but they are not the only ones. As mentioned before, Kenjaku can add new rules or change existing ones at any time. He can also reveal hidden rules that were not announced before. For example, Kenjaku added a new rule that allows players to give any amount of points they want to another player. He also revealed a hidden rule that allows players to access information on other players, such as name, points, number of rules added, and current colony. These additional rules can have various effects on the game, such as creating alliances, betrayals, rivalries, or strategies among the players. They can also make the game more unpredictable and dangerous for everyone involved. But who are these players? Who are Kenjaku's allies and enemies? Who are our heroes and villains? The culling game is not just a game. It is a catalyst for change, for better or worse. It affects the characters and the story in various ways, such as the culling game forces the characters to face their fears, doubts, regrets, and desires. It challenges their beliefs, values, and morals. It tests their strength, skills, and strategies. It also gives them opportunities to grow, learn, and change. For example, the culling game makes Yuji Itadori question his role as Sukuna's vessel and his responsibility for the deaths he caused or witnessed. It also makes him confront his feelings for Nobara Kugisaki and his friendship with Megumi Fushiguro. It also gives him a chance to bond with Yuta Okotsu and Kinji Hakari, who become his new allies and mentors. The culling game makes Megumi Fushiguro realize his true potential as a sorcerer and the heir of the Zenin family. It also makes him face his past, such as his relationship with his sister Sumiki and his father Toji. It also gives him a chance to master his Ten Shadows technique and unlock new Shikigami, such as Mahoraga. The culling game makes Maki Zenin overcome her trauma and grief after losing her sister Mai and most of her family. It also makes her embrace her heavenly restriction and unleash her full power as a sorcerer. It also gives her a chance to avenge her family and become the new head of the Zenin family. The culling game also creates new alliances, betrayals, rivalries, or friendships among the characters. It also strengthens or weakens existing bonds or conflicts among them. For example, the culling game turns Yuji Itadori and Yuta Okotsu from enemies to allies after Yuta realizes that Kenjaku lied to him about Gojo's wish. They also develop a mutual respect and trust for each other as fellow special-grade sorcerers. The culling game reunites Megumi Fushiguro and Tsumiki Fushiguro after years of separation and estrangement. They also discover that they are not blood-related siblings, but half-siblings who share the same father. They also try to save each other from Kenjaku's plan and escape from the game. The culling game intensifies Maki Zenin and Naoya Zenin hatred and rivalry after Naoya attacks Maki and curses her with Noritoshi Kamo's blood. They also fight for the position of the head of the Zenin family, with Maki emerging victorious and killing Naoya. But that's not all. The culling game creates new challenges, obstacles, mysteries, or twists for the story. It also resolves or complicates existing ones. The culling game reveals Kenjaku's ultimate goal of merging Tengen with humanity using his cursed spirit manipulation technique. It also reveals his methods of creating new sorcerers by distributing cursed objects and activating them with his blood. It also reveals his allies and enemies who support or oppose his plan. The culling game affects Sukuna's plan of collecting all of his fingers and regaining his full power. It also affects his relationship with Yuji, who is his vessel and host. It also affects his involvement in the game, as he can intervene or interfere in some situations. The culling game exposes Tengen's role as the referee and overseer of the game. It also exposes his connection to Kenjaku, who wants to use him for his plan. It also exposes his abilities and limitations as an ancient and powerful sorcerer. These are some of the implications of the culling game, but they are not the only ones. There are many other aspects that can be discussed and analyzed in relation to the game. And there you have it. We have seen that the culling game is not just a game, but a catalyst for change. It is a game that challenges, tests, and transforms the players and the world. It is a game that reveals the dark and twisted side of humanity and cursed energy. It is a game that raises many questions and issues that are relevant to the story and its themes. If you like what I do in here, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you have some anime that you'd like me to cover, write it down in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.